this is Christina Wallace, and today I'm going to show you how to make these flowers here. If you're new to my channel, I do flower tutorials most weeks, and if it's not a flower tutorial, I'm normally talking about some cold porcelain or clay or sugar paste techniques, tools or materials. So for this I'm going to make my own stamens using a very thin wire, 33 in this case. It goes as thin as 35. You basically just use the thinnest you have. And I'm going to tint my craft glue with a yellow, although I don't actually like this shade of yellow, so I'm going to add a bit of red, and that would give me a nice warm shade of yellow. Kind of primrose shade, which is just like this, and I love it. And so if your glue is not very thick, I suggest you use a bit of corn flour and make it as thick as you like it. I love this particular flower. It's a late summer flower and it's very dreamy and very kind of childhood memories evoking for me, but that's not quite why I actually chose it. Firstly, I wanted to continue with a bit of a theme of using stamens, but also I want to explore an interesting to me question in the art of flower making. Namely, I want to spend a lot of time on one of the flowers, this one, making handmade stamens, which I think look fabulous and have their place, and then compare it with the short bought stamens. See, actually I ended up doing about 3 times of this to satisfy that one little small middle. So, and that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to explore in this video whether it's actually worth it spending a lot of time on the middle of the flower or on any element of the flower, and whether the difference spent on it would actually be worth it. I mean, clearly the handmade stamen flower is probably as uncommercial as it gets. And so forget making it for wedding pictures. No one would ever recognize, for wedding cakes, because no one would actually recognize its value, or at least in UK they won't. I don't think. So the question is it actually worth going in all the trouble for the difference that it makes? If you guys think it does make a difference, using handmade stamens and all of those little details, as opposed to just using shop-made stamens and making the same thing with shop-made stamens. It's a very interesting question to me, because then you just start thinking whether this flower is just a utility to decorate something like wedding cakes, especially for those of you who use sugar. As you could see, I'm using very similar or the same as sugar techniques. So is it worth the hustle, spending all that time on making very detailed and flowers and putting as much effort into it as possible, self-made stamens, you see, or is it worth the compromise? So basically, is it worth making flowers for the art of it and what to do with it? And if there is nothing to do with it, is it still worth it? This is a very interesting question to me. I spoke to so many sugar artists, flower artists about it, and I'd love to hear what you think. And what do you make flowers for? Is it a hobby for you, clay artists, or sugar artists, both of you? Or yeah, it'd be just interesting to explore, I think, that particular question. Coming back to our task at hand, I'm going to quickly do petals here, clearly a subordinate part of this particular flower. I'm going to make petals probably slightly smaller than they are in nature, and I just want to accentuate this middle. I think it would really look nice and make my point nicely, though I don't fancy my chances arguing this point with judges of Cake International, for example. So yeah, bear that in mind if you're doing things for competitions. However, I am not being judged, and I'm going to do exactly what I want to do. So this cutter is very nice, has loads of little petals, and I am not going to use all of them. I'm just gonna pay a lot of attention to taking it out as clean as I can, with the edges as clean as I can, so I save myself some post-production. And then I'm going to position these little petals around the center, and I try to be symmetrical. I'm going to position first 4 opposite each other, and then I'm going to fill in the in-betweens, and I'm going to try to make it as casual as possible. I am not looking at the picture while I'm doing it, so I'm just trying to kind of play it by ear and see what looks nice. And so while I'm clearing off these pesky little petals from their cutter, I just wanted to take a moment and say to all of you who keep returning to my channel and watching my videos week after week after week and communicating with me on my social media, I am so grateful to have you, and I said it before and it still stands. Without you, this channel would have been impossible. So thank you so much. And those new ones of you who are watching this video and like the sound of my channel and think you're going to be returning and watching it again, please subscribe. It really does help. And I hope you're going to have a lovely holidays and get some well-deserved rest, especially those of you cakers who spend all summer baking cakes and now it's your downtime. Have a lovely holidays. I'm going to try to get a tutorial in during the holidays, and if not, I'm going to be back second week of January with a detailed tutorial on types of clay and how you could benefit from using those, even if you generally work with sugar. So yeah, it's a highly requested video on basically going into details of types of clay like deco and so on and so forth. And so here I am shaping my petals. I'm not sure if I mentioned, if you work with sugar, you would need to wire this one. Just fold this petal over wire, size 26 would do nicely here, and just stick it in the base of this flower, just like I've done with my daisy in a daisy tutorial I'm going to link below. I have started this tutorial last week and never finished it on time, and I've actually overlooked wrapping up this center really well in plastic, so it's dried and I can't put the wire in. If I could, I probably would, because it would probably give it a nicer, steadier base with clay. But fortunately with clay I could actually get away without using wire. With sugar I highly recommend wire, or else they would just break off. Okay, so this is a wired petal, just to show you. It's the petal that's folded over wire and then to be inserted into the base. It's actually a clay technique, but it would work just as beautifully with sugar here, because you won't be able to see the base anyway, and it's just a nice little crossover. This is the final flower, and I really want you to get back to me with that question. How far would you go with detail on flower, even if it's not commercial and you can't use it for cake? Would you actually bother to sit there for hours trying to improve your flower that tad little bit more? I'd love to hear about that here or on social media, whichever. And this is it for today. These are the 2 flowers to compare for that comment, and have a lovely, super lovely holidays. Have fun.